Hello and welcome to the Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 72, how to release fear and anxiety around money and manifest abundance instead. So this conversation is coming up because of a lot of people talking to me about their worry and anxieties over money. And I totally get it. Like we're always up leveling this money story, and money is an energy that is brought to us, like it's in our society for a reason, obviously to exchange. It wasn't always here, right? They used to use bartering as a system. But now that we have money as this energy and we put a value on it, and we believe in this idea of currency, trading time for money, trading time for currency, we've kind of been locked in and socially programmed to, that money is like like everything, like money is everything. And I've heard things like, money isn't everything, but it's pretty close to oxygen. Like you need it to live, right? You need it to survive. You need it to conduct in this life experience. And because of that, we really want to get our money story straight. We really want money to be something that brings us joy, that allows us to do things, that gives us the freedom, instead of being this thing that creates misery or makes us feel constricted and fearful and anxious. That's what we want to do, and we can do it. I have done it. There's been many times in my life where there has not been enough, and I had to look at my money stories. I had to release some things. I had to heal from some things. And I have an actual exercise that I'm going to do with you guys in the middle of this that's going to help you to release some of that money anxiety and change the stories. First of all, you have to know what the stories are. Change the stories that you grew up with or grew up in that created this lower field of energy of money coming into your experience. So money is an energy. It conducts based on how we feel about it, what we do with it, how we allow ourselves to feel worthy for it. There's so much involved, but it's really, really simple when we dumb it down. And it's really, really simple to conduct from abundance when you let go of these old stories and you release the energy that's causing the blockages. So, life is a journey. And this has been something I've really been promoting on all of my social media posts recently. Life is a journey. And that journey is going to give you reasons to up level, expand, and grow. If you haven't listened to my last episode, episode 71, it was about the spiritual meaning of manifestation, the spiritual energy of manifesting versus just the science. And when we bring the science and the spirituality together, which basically says, everything that's happening to me is about my expansion and growth. And if there's really something that I want and it's not manifesting, there is a really important reason for that. And most likely there's something better that's going to manifest. So you got to tune into that, because once you tune into that, life starts to feel a little more freer. And life, the things that are happening into your life don't feel so serious. They feel like opportunities to put your manifestation powers to work. And that's what money does for you. It is an opportunity for you to up level into your worthiness. It's an opportunity to change your responses to it. It's an opportunity to change generational cycles. Yes, you have generational energy that is conducting in your experience if you have never worked on it. So everything that you grew up with, right? Because money is an energy, there's beliefs and energy wrapped around it that you are conducting from, that most likely you learned when you were very, very small. 4 to 7 years old, a lot of your money beliefs were already created. And then as you lived life, those beliefs, you created evidence of them. So if you have struggled with money your whole life, you've got to go back and look at those stories. If you haven't necessarily had a restriction of money and money has flowed, but you still have misery around it, we've got to look back at those stories, because those most likely are conducting in your life and you're not fully aware of them. So the first thing is awareness, right? Awareness of the money stories. So what I would do, honestly, is sit down and write down some of the things that you heard as a child about money, some of the ways, the energy of money in your household. Did you hear things like money doesn't grow on trees? I think we all heard that one, right? I think I've said that for sure to my own children. Money doesn't grow on trees. Another one I would hear is money talks, people walk. So that basically says when people get money, you're not important to them anymore. That was a big one. Money comes hard. You got to work hard to create money. I'm all of that stuff that you grew up with is still happening in your life right now if you haven't done any work on it. So if your parents were, extremely constrictive and very fearful around money, you may be carrying that with you. If your parents were very free with money and if they just spent everything they had, you may have that going on. I had a little of both, I think. Absolutely. So it takes time to work on this stuff, to, create differently from it. Going back and thinking about my life story, when I started to make money, I always made money because my parents would hire me to do things for them. So my mom would hire me to clean the house, and my dad actually had an egg business. So I used to pack eggs, and I would get paid every week for doing 2.5 hours of packing eggs. It was the bane of my existence. I absolutely hated doing it. And I was the only kid in the family that they could get to do it. So it was my job. Now I got paid for it. So every week, I think I made $20 doing that. And then I made money cleaning the house. So I always had, some sort of money, and I didn't really feel the restriction of it. Also, really interesting, and kind of plays a role a little bit in my life today. My dad used to do work for a guy who owned a clothing store. So he would do work at the clothing store, and then they would barter for clothes. So I would go in school shopping and I would be able to just buy whatever I wanted. So it's a little bit about kind of the way I do things now. Like I have a beautiful wardrobe and I love shopping and I feel very abundant when I shop. So, childhood stuff, right? Childhood energies that are still conducting today. So that was a new awareness that I just had right now. So my family definitely lived, I wouldn't say an abundant lifestyle, but definitely felt like there was a lot of spending going on, but there was always like things always worked out for them. They bought and sold houses. My dad was a mover and a shaker. He was always making money doing different things. He was entrepreneurial, very entrepreneurial. He never had a job that I remember. So he always did his own thing. So he created his own economy. And that's exactly what I do, exactly what my husband does. So it's really interesting when we walk through these things. Now, my husband came into our family when he was 16. So he saw that his family all worked jobs. They all had, hourly jobs. And I think, being in our experience at a young age, he kind of saw what my dad was doing and that was attractive to him. And so, that conducts the people that are around you when you're growing up also can promote in your experience. So, growing up, that was what we had going on. And then as we got older, I had an hourly job. I worked at a health food store for a while. My husband started doing carpentry work for people. He took a carpentry course, so he learned how to build and he started working for people. So we had hourly funds that were coming in. And I honestly and truly remember spending every damn thing we made. Everything we made was spent, definitely. And by the end of the week, things would get tight, I just remember there being a lot of feeling of constriction and not enough. And then we started to have children and that started to get even worse. And I actually started waitressing. I was working at a bar serving, which was a terrible job for a 20-year-old mother to be in, or 21. I was 21, 22, 23, had two babies and, started working and pulling in lots of money. Because when you work at a restaurant on a Friday and a Saturday night, you're pulling in money. So I always had cash. And that was a really great feeling. And then through the course of that and realizing that wasn't good for me, I started working at another restaurant. And then we decided, I remember it was like a Sunday afternoon. Our girls were like 2 and 3. We decided that I wasn't going to work anymore. And we were just going to figure it out. Like we were just going to do whatever we needed to do. I was going to support my husband in creating as much money as he possibly could, but I was going to stay home with the girls because it was a short time in our experience and we recognized the value and the importance of me being home with them. So that happened. And then we were a one income family for a very long time. So through the course of that, I remember not having enough. I remember having spaghetti on some nights. Like there were times when things were really, really tight. I remember my husband collecting cans on the side of the road, and a man saw him and hired him because he was so respectful of my husband just getting out there and doing something. And I think that is a really important lesson here, is that if you are in a situation where you are really struggling and maybe there's lack of food on the table, get yourself out there. Get yourself out there in the world, because if you sit home in a low vibration of depression, you're not going to be able to activate the energy of opportunities. And my husband has always been amazing about just getting himself out there to create opportunities. And he would even take jobs that were less than he was worth just to keep himself in action. When we first moved to California, he took a job in LA. The commute was like 5 hours in traffic. And we even considered for a second of him staying up there for a little while. And I was like, I did not move to California for you to live away from me. So, we had to make hard decisions when there wasn't enough money coming in. And we didn't make our decisions necessarily based on bringing money in, but letting things go that weren't working so that we could actually attract things that did work. And through the course of time, we built ourselves up. Again, we went through this a few times. So I remember going through the first time with the girls, and, we had the 2 girls and then we had the 4 girls, and we were living in a really small house and one income family. My husband was working for someone. And when he started to branch out on his own, and this is a really amazing story about doing what you love and just getting out there on your own instead of constricting and keeping yourself small by working for someone or working a job that's not paying you necessarily what you want to create in this life experience. So he had been working for a guy for a long time. The guy taught him a lot. It was amazing. And I remember we were, the girls were part of a soccer team. And he started doing work for people on the soccer team, just doing side jobs, taking side jobs. And that suddenly turned into a business for him that ended up becoming like a $3 million a year business. So it took time, it took time to build. It took time for us to work on our faith and our belief systems and our worthiness. And we didn't even know about law of attraction yet. It was through the course of 2008, 2009 that we actually became desperate enough to be searching for another way, and law of attraction came into our lives. And that's when we realized, oh my goodness, we're actually conducting, and we can conduct and we can create an energetic alignment with abundance. And it wouldn't be until after we moved to California that we would really understand this, like really understand it to the point where we were, we started to create something that felt like, you get these energies like, oh, all the money that comes in goes out. All the money that comes in goes, and as fast as it comes in, it goes out. And there's never enough. And you get in these patterns and cycles. And I don't know if it's because of the way we grew up, because I saw a lot of that and he saw a lot of that. But if that's happening to you, you have to change your responses and the way you feel about it in order to change how you're conducting in that experience. So I am really off on a tangent today, but it's okay because I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to roll myself back in. So look at the generational energies that you grew up with, your grandparents, your parents. Like my grandparents grew up in the Depression, and I just realized this as I was talking to my daughter today. My grandfather was an extremely abundant man. Now, he started out working at Bridgeport Machines. He had a job, he had a day job, and he bought this farm and ended up having 10,000 chickens. Yeah, this is crazy. And because of that, he created abundance for himself. And my grandfather always had money. I never remember them not being extremely generous and always like taking us shopping. I want to buy you something. That was my grandfather's line. I want to buy you something. And he was always buying himself shirts. He was really into like golf shirts. So he always like had brand new shirts on. So through the course of time, that farm provided them so much abundance. And then when they sold it for a lot of money because a developer bought it, and they ended up retiring in Florida. And my grandfather lived well into his retirement. Like he was 99 when he passed away. So he retired at 65, I believe, and lived pretty abundantly and never felt any constriction or fear from him. So I realized today he broke the generational cycle for our family. And I need to draw from that experience. We all need to draw from that experience. My daughter, who just left her job and started her own furniture making business, if you're interested, she's making incredible furniture out of old barnwood. It's called the Rusty Barnwood Company. I hope that's the name of it. If it's not, I'll correct it in my notes. But yeah, so she's going to be on the show really soon and I'm excited about it. But it's nerve-wracking when you leave a sure thing, when you leave a sure paycheck and you go out on your own, you're not sure if you're going to pull in that same flow. And the reality is, as long as you can keep your vibration up, as long as you can keep yourself from diving too deeply into worry and anxiety, you're pretty sure you're going to make more because you're working on your gifts, you're working from your worthiness, and you're actually adding value, more value to the world by doing what your heart calls you to do. And I believe that's what happened with my husband as well when he started his own thing. And my grandfather, how cool is that? And he grew up in the Depression. So being able to just let go of that energy, but that energy lives in all of us. And I'm going to give you a little exercise to start releasing some of that for yourself so that you don't live in that. So fear and restriction block the flow. And because fear and restriction block the flow, they don't necessarily block the flow, but they slow the energy way down. So you will still manifest. It will just be hard and you'll feel pretty miserable on the way to it. And I have lots of examples from when we moved to California and there was this fear. And I remember I was actually working with an energy healer at the time. And I remember her saying, like, you got to let the money go right now. Like, you've got to stop thinking about this 24/7 and having it ruin this for you. Like, you just made a huge leap of faith to your dreams. You're up leveling so much in your life experience. You've just got to work on the trust and the faith and letting this money story go that no longer serves you. So we would do things like go to the sunset to assure us. The sunset is like such a phenomenon. No matter where we go in the world, if we gather somewhere for the sunset, there's always tons of people. Have you ever noticed that? Well, the sunset gives us the feeling that tomorrow's another day. Like, that's what the sunset does. The sun always sets, the sun always rises. Those things, they do something to us when we watch them. And they give us that assurance that we may need, that everything is going to be okay. So get out in nature, put yourself in nature, do some grounding energies. Because if you're in the chase all the time, if you're in the desperate energy all the time, you're not going to conduct from flow and those higher vibrational energies of trusting in the co-creative energies of the universe. I have a million miracle stories about money, of finding money on the ground, of, mailbox money, all sorts of different things that happen to us. I know I've told this story before, but this was probably one of the biggest ones when we moved to California, and my husband was working for someone and we didn't necessarily have enough money. And it was our first Christmas here. And we were going to be just with our two girls because our older girls were coming the week before. So that Christmas was tough. And his paycheck never came. The girl put it in the mail and it never came. But instead, what came was a $2,500 check from our mortgage company, after our foreclosure. I mean, it was just crazy. It was like the insurance for the house, or I can't even explain it to you what it was because it was so bizarre, but it literally helped us to provide a Christmas for our girls when we thought we weren't going to have one. It's huge, right? Absolutely huge. So those kind of things have happened to me a lot where I just have faith that it's always going to work out and I trust. And I've realized over the course of time that not 1 second of worry, anxiety, depression, any of that stuff about money has ever helped me create money or helped me to live in my joy. So letting it go is super beneficial to you, and it will allow you to change your response, which changes the energy around money. So pay attention to what you grew up in. Pay attention to how you feel about money right now. So whatever your story is about money right now, either there's not enough, or maybe you have a great money story. Maybe you're listening to this so that you can up-level your money story more. Maybe your story about money is there's always enough. I had a landlady once. I was talking about her recently. She was amazing. She was like fire. She since passed away, but she told me that she had more money than God. She used to say that all the time, which is kind of funny because, like, does God have money? I don't think so. So I thought Now that I'm thinking about it, that was a pretty funny thing, but she felt abundant to me. She had a beautiful home. We lived on the side of her house in this little apartment. And yeah, never felt any money constriction from her. So it's really interesting that through the course of our lives, we've been surrounded by very abundant people, very wealthy people. I've flown on private jets. Like, we have literally been around it to the point where we know now how to tune into it. And the biggest thing that I've recognized now is that my response is everything. So, we struggled to pay rent for a long time in California. And then we moved into this very beautiful and very abundant home. Just, I love my house. We both love our house. We say it all the time. And we rent. I'm not going to be, you know, like, not, I'm not going to be ashamed that we rent. It's where we're at right now in our experience. And it's totally great and fine. And it's really provided a beautiful home for us and allowed us to recover our credit scores until we're able. And I don't even know if we'll ever buy a home. I just feel like that's another scam of the system. Seriously, like 30 years to buy a house, and then maybe you'll sell it for more, maybe you won't. I mean, there's no guarantees in anything, guys. Nothing. There's no guarantee. And we put these social programmings on stuff like, oh, you have to be a homeowner. And it's like, guess what? You don't own the house. The bank owns the house until you pay it off. Well, you're just throwing money out the window for rent. Really? Because I'm enjoying a really beautiful home for my rent. So those things are just like, after owning a home and foreclosing on a home, and really, I feel, not being in a system that works for people. We had the money to pay our rent for our mortgage for a little while. We had refinanced and we were paying our rent, and then we defaulted again. And when we defaulted again, they wouldn't let us recover. Even though we had the money, we could show that we were making the money again, because they wanted all the arrears. And mortgages have insurance on this money, so they don't lose anything. They ended up selling that house for half of what we bought it for. So, I just, like, it's a system that I don't really know if I want to be a part of again, but who knows, right? As I become more and more abundant, maybe I will want to be a homeowner. It's all programming, people. Money is all a programming, and it is set in place for us to up level and grow into our journeys, to show ourselves how powerful we are. And if you're in a spot right now where money seems like it's not really flowing, I bet you could, though, look at your life and go, yeah, we do have flow. Like, we are paying our bills, or we are feeding ourselves, or I'm sure that you could find some sort of gratitude for the money that you have coming in. And because of that, you can tune it higher. You can continue to tune it higher. So once we moved into this home and we were having trouble paying our rent in our last home, and this rent was more, and recognizing that we've never had trouble paying this rent is very, yeah, it's an up level. It's an absolute up level. So I remember when we looked at this house and it was more, and I was like, how are we going to pay a rent that's more when we were having trouble paying that one? And it's like, because this is the up level. This is the step up. This is being surrounded by beauty in the home that you love. That other house did not do that for us. It was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of issues with the landlady. So it was an up level. So sometimes we need to up level. Sometimes we need to go a little higher and trust and have faith that it's going to work out for us. Now, on that note, you cannot spend yourself into abundance. I have tried this as well. That energy of trying to prove something, trying to prove that I'm abundant by spending money, continually made me broker. It absolutely did, and got me into trouble. So the energy that you want to spend from, the energy that you want to create money from, is money is an energy. Money flows to me easily. Money comes and goes, right? Money in, money out. Understanding that flow of energy comes when you're not super fearful around it or restrictive. But also, as you're spending, pay attention to how you feel. Because the first time that we went through our financial stuff, and the first time we really became truly abundant and had lots of money coming in and lots of money going out, I felt anxious all the time. And I was worried when I spent. And I was sending this worry energy to this money. And I'm sure my husband was as well, because he was super stressed out at that point. So when that ended, and we went back to, not having enough like we did when we were kids, it felt really, really awful because because we used to be able to do stuff and then all of a sudden we couldn't do stuff. So cleaning that up along the way is how you're going to become more abundant. Cleaning up the energy of how do I feel? Do I feel unworthy? I know I've shared before, but I can remember this morning like it was yesterday of looking at my phone and it saying that my bank account was negative, and I just laughed. Like I just said, really? Like I'm giving so much value in this world. There's no way I'm negative in the universe. And then by the end of the day, some money came in and we were fine. But that feeling of your bank account being overdrawn and then the banks charging us fees because we're like kicking us when we're down. That's what I used to call it. They're kicking us when we're down, right? Like charging us money because we don't have money. And, that's the system. And we got to play the system. We got to get better at playing the system so that we can create abundance and we're no longer a victim to the system. We no longer feel like the system is working against us or there's injustices in our path. So there are a few things that slow down your flow of money. One is the hating of money, feeling like money is the greatest enemy, despising people who have money, feeling jealousy around people who have money, feeling like you will never have any money. I mean, these are all things that I've worked through, absolutely, for sure. Let's see what else. Issues with worthiness, if you don't feel worthy of money, if your family never felt worthy of money, not charging enough, if you have your own business and you're not charging enough because you don't believe in yourself, look at the rates out there. That's what I like to do, is look at the rates out there. I also very much intuitively charge. So I kind of ask what my pricing should be and I allow that answer to come through me. That's been my best guide, because if I go out there, I remember when I up leveled my prices for energy healing, and it didn't, I had a client that I lost because of it. And she helped me to work through some stuff. She helped me to become more determined in my power to create finances for my family and more determined in my skill. I remember her saying like the energy healing that we did was like worth 30 years of therapy. And yet when I tried to charge more, she had a really hard time with it. And she not left me. She didn't work with me anymore, which is fine. She didn't leave me. I don't feel abandoned. At the time, I probably did, but it was okay because I understood my worth. Like that was part, right? That was part of my expansion and growth. And that is when we understand that in that spiritual part of manifesting, when we understand that, we're fine. We're always fine. So we don't need to be so desperate. But up leveling my prices was a big deal. And because I wasn't totally sure about it and not totally connected to it, I had some issues with it. However, moving forward, I know my worth and I know what feels good to charge and I know what feels like overcharging. I know a lot of coaches that were doing, charging $10,000 every month. And I'm just like, oh, that just doesn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel right to me. And yes, maybe they had the clientele that could pay it. And maybe that's a worthiness thing that I still need to work through. But it just felt like, I don't know, an imbalance. It's like the idea of what these entertainers make compared to what they do and the value that they bring. Yes, they bring value, but when you look at the story of money and the worthiness of money and the people that have money, it's like, is he any more worthy than me? I don't, it's like we've got to stop putting our value on the money that we make and put the value on what we are providing. Because of law of compensation of the universe, which is a universal law, it's all coming back to us. So the growth, the expansion, that stuff truly is currency, and it's going to help you tune your vibration higher and higher as long as you work in the field of releasing and healing and coming to more. If you're ignoring that, if you're fearful and you're pushing your fears down, if you don't want to look at things, you are going to continue to create crap for yourself. Deal with your shit. Honestly, if you've got bills that are due and you're ignoring them, eventually they're going to turn off your electricity. Hello, been there, done that. And if I dealt with that electric bill, when it started to get high, I may have gotten assistance, but I didn't deal with it. I wanted to push it away. I wanted to pretend it was going to be okay. That's not manifesting. That actually is manifesting through chaos. And so many things happen to us manifesting through chaos. So we would wait until things got really bad and then we would deal with them. That miracles would happen, absolutely. But damn, it's not fun doing that. I don't like living in chaos. I'm a Virgo. I really like things to be like status quo and in control. And, nothing is assured. There is no real security in this game of money. So, why not tune into your own frequencies on it and start to clean that story up? All right. So some of the other ways you slow down money, attracting reasons to lose money. So that's the energy of being broke. When you feel broke, I'm so broke. I can't stand when people say I'm so broke or I can't afford it. Those things drive me insane. When you say you're broke, you give the universe more reasons to give you broke things like broke cars or broke washing machines or broke refrigerators. Think about it. Think about the times those things have broken in your life. They are usually at the worst possible times because you are feeling broke and you are sending out the energy of brokenness. You're gonna get more reasons to feel that way. So check yourself on the feeling broke, saying you're broke, acting broke. All those things are going to bring you more broke things and more reasons to feel broke. You are not broke. You are not broken. So you got to work on that story, and I'm gonna help you to release that. Money is an energy, and you are here to show yourself how powerful you are through that avenue. So maybe you haven't until now. Maybe your money has really created a lot of issues for you. Maybe you feel like it's kept you small, it's kept you safe, it's kept you the same, right? Like all those things. Because of that, you have created a story around it that has only allowed a certain amount of it to come in. And I know we have a lot of programmings around I do work, I get money, that's it. That's how money works. And it's not true. We got to open up our fields to universal flow of energy of money. I know Michael Bernard Beckwith wrote the book Spiritual Liberation, and then in Diane Collins' Do You Quantum Think, they share how, your money doesn't come from other people. Your money doesn't come from your job. Your money doesn't come from your clients. Money comes from universal flow. It comes from your source. So there's a never ending currency, and there's a never ending energy that we can tune into that will allow us to create that flow. But we have to be aligned with it. We have to be vibrationally aligned with abundance, which means we live in a lot of joy. We live in a lot of faith. We live in a lot of trust. We are calm. We are peaceful. We are often looking for reasons to feel grateful. We feel joyful. Those are the higher vibrations where money flows easily to us. Money can do great things. So this is something I feel, often we can have this story about money, like money's just here to pay the bills. Money's here to make my life suck. Money's tight. I got to save for retirement. All these like programmings, right? But here's a couple of things that money actually does for you, which is pretty great. It gives you freedom. It gives you freedom to do things. The whole reason why you want money is so you can feel freer. So you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them. That's it, right? So if there's ways around that where you can ask yourself, how can I do this? Instead of saying, I need this certain amount of money to do this, you say, how can I do this? You may manifest trips. You may manifest, I've gotten so many free things in my life. It's crazy. So, I was talking about this the other day. I went to Tony Robbins. I went to his Unleash the Power Within totally for free. I didn't even pay for the hotel room because I knew a trainer there and she got me a free ticket. And then I went with this woman who was so kind and so generous, and she paid for the hotel. So I went basically for free. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. We've manifested, a trip to Hawaii. We've manifested a lot of things, paying off car loans, different things, because we were in the faith in trust of everything working out for us. It enables you, to do the things. It shows how worthy you are. And then I had a question mark. So this came up, like, does it really show how worthy we are? Interestingly, because this is the thing. When we have money, we feel worthy. When we have money, we feel good. When we have money and we can spend and we can do things and we have freedom, that's when we feel worthy. Well, in order to get to that worthiness, you've got to feel that first. You've got to feel some of that confidence and some of that that power within you first to create that. So that's when I started to step into that in my business, like to feel really powerful and to know what I was doing with people, to understand how I was changing lives. is absolutely incredible. And I know I've affected people for the rest of their life in what I've done with them. So, just by letting go of old energies, by creating new, by healing wounds, all of that stuff is massive in spiritual currency. And a lot of people in the spiritual field don't charge a lot because they feel guilty, because they're like, well, I'm helping them spiritually, so money shouldn't be attached. Absolutely, money needs to be attached because it's your gift, it's your talent. And the more money you have and the better you feel, the more worthy you feel, the more you're going to be able to share your gifts, because you're not in the life-sucking energy of trying to figure out how to make money. That's when you're really free. That's when you're really liberated to create in this world, is when you're using your gifts and talents, when you're living in joy every day, when you're providing value and the world is giving you evidence of it. You are getting a reflection of that by what is coming back to you. That's law of attraction. That's identity creation. I feel good. I feel powerful. I feel fulfilled. I'm waking up every day. I'm doing what my soul purpose, what my heart is calling me to. I'm doing that every day, and I'm getting evidence of it in the form of money or currency. It doesn't mean that that's your worthiness, but unfortunately, when we when we agreed to this life on earth, that was one of the contracts that we signed into, was to create with money, to figure this money thing out, and to use money as a tool to allow us to expand and grow and to step into more and to up level through that experience. All right, that's that page. I actually got through one page. Go me. I'm only 36 minutes in. It's fine. Okay. Okay. So think about your first experiences with money. In your home, did you do chores? Did you have a first job? What was your feeling around money? I know when I got money, I spent it. I know that for sure. And I'm not so much like that anymore, but it's taken me years to work on that and to not just feel like I have to spend it all the time, to be a little more intuitive with spending instead of just spending willy-nilly. Because when we, first created abundance in our first home and everything, it was like winning the lottery. And if we had won the lottery, we would have lost it. And it's probably why we ended up losing a lot of things, because we weren't totally aligned with the abundance. So, what was your first experiences? Look around the world. Do you think that creating abundance and creating money is going to make you a different person? Do you think that it's not going to make you a good person? That whole thing about, like, how do I feel about money? How do I really feel about money? And how do I really feel about the people around me who have money is conducting in your story. All right, so we have to change the importance and beliefs around money. I think we've got to get a little less serious about it. This, like, oh my God, I'm going to run out and I'm not going to have enough for retirement. And the whole, first of all, the whole retirement thing is a massive programming. And yes, okay, everybody wants retirement. I get it. We want to stop working, but I'm never going to stop creating. And that's why the retirement piece of this is, a lot of people get to retirement and die because they don't have a purpose. They don't have anything to go to every day. They don't have a reason for living. And so their retirement, they don't even end up spending. So my grandfather enjoyed the heck out of his retirement, which was amazing. And I just truly believe in the abundance of nature. I believe in the abundance of give and take and flow and all of that. So it's not something that I worry about. I don't send worry to my future. Stop sending worry to your future, being worried about having enough or being worried that you're going to run out. It's like, it's an infinite, abundant universe. Let's tune into those frequencies and stop coming from the place of worry and anxiety that we're wrapping around this silly money story, right? Like, if you really think about it, if money was real, we would take it with us to the other side. It's not. You build it here, you leave it here. It's like, let's just have fun. The more fun we can have making money and spending money and being with money and having peace about money, the better our lives are going to be, the more fulfilling, the more joyful, the more loving relationships we're going to have when we take our misery and our yucky energy that's wrapped around the money and we stop with that story. All right. All right. So looking at your money stories again, is it hard? Is there never enough? Do you constrict when there's not enough? Are you excited about it? Are you excited about the money that's coming in? Are you at peace with it? And do you send it worry? When you spend money, how do you feel? When you pay your bills, how do you feel? This is all conducting in your experience. I know it seems so ridiculous and so simple, and it absolutely is. The part that makes it challenging is the momentum. We have momentum around money. So even though the outside world, my bank account is not reflecting how I feel, we need that physical energy. We need that energetic energy to catch up to the physical. The fastest way to do that is to change your response. It's to change your response to what is happening in your field, and it's to let things go. It's to soothe yourself. It's to let go of the fear and anxiety. It's to breathe. It's to come back into your inner being, your nature, your meditation, whatever brings you peace and allows you to clear the field and step into zero state awareness. Have you ever added a day to your life or joy to your life by being concerned about money? Never. I realized that when my daughter got married and we had to spend a lot of money. We rented an amazing house that was right near the wedding venue and had a pool, and it was a beautiful home. And we helped out with the wedding, even though she paid for most of it herself, which was amazing. So we helped out, did what we could. I remember paying for everybody's manicures and pedicures. And I remember feeling incredibly abundant to do that. It really felt really good to just be able to take care of everybody. And of course, most of them were my daughters, right? And to pay for everybody's hair and pay for everybody's makeup. And all of that felt so incredibly abundant. And I just remember this was right before COVID. So it was a couple of years ago, just letting go, letting go. When the worry and anxiety would come, I would just let it go, just let it go. And we paid it off. It's like literally it always works out for you. And if you really, a lot of times we look at debt and we think, oh God, I have all this debt, and we let it constrict and we let it, make us not breathe, and we're paying these minimums every month and we're struggling and it just doesn't even make any sense. And it's like, if you could shift the way you feel about your debt, if you could shift and go, that's not debt, that's my ability to do things, that allows me to do things, not overspend and be crazy. And if you can get 0%, play the game, people. 0% financing, or we did all this switching of our balances around so that we could do that. Amazing. It's freeing. It's fun. We're playing the game. We just got to get smarter and stop working so hard to conduct in our experience. Whenever you're shrinking and constricting and feeling like there's not enough, you're creating that. So we've got to start loosening that grip. We've got to start believing. We got to start trusting and having faith. The biggest thing I think that I've gotten from the money things that we've walked through is my faith. My faith strengthened so much through that. And I saw so many miracles, and I can speak to so much of that now when people are struggling and freaking out and like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. And it's like, why wouldn't you? I don't believe we're here to suffer. If you're like in a religion or in a belief system that we're here to suffer, you're probably not listening to this, but I don't believe we're here to suffer. I believe that everything is for our good. I believe that everything leads us to our expansion and growth. And if we do a little suffering through that, then that's part of our healing process, what we need to heal and let go of. We don't have to suffer. We actually instill our own suffering by how we believe and what we do with our belief systems. We instill our own suffering. We slow down our own energy fields. So why not make it simpler? Why not make it more at ease? Why not make it flow easier by deciding that it will, by conducting from the energy that it's all good, that it's all okay? One of the sayings that we've had for a long time is, I don't really like the saying like it's only money, because I feel like that downplays money. It's just, we can make more. I love that saying. We can make more. We can always make more money. You can always make more money, even if you've been working a job for a long time. Right now, you guys, is the easiest time. It is the easiest time to make money. So many people are making money doing so many different things. It kind of boggles my mind. It really does. What did I'm trying to think. Recently, I saw somebody, that had created a business, and I can't think of what it was, but it was wild. And it was like, I was literally like, you can make money doing anything. You truly can. Like, just work from your gifts and talents, work from what your heart is calling you to, put in some action, put in a little action, and then you never know what's going to happen. Recently I've invested in my business. I've never really done this before. I've invested in myself for sure. I've done programs and whatever, and worked with energy healers, and I do massage. I get a massage very often. Like, I do things for myself for sure. But this is like the first year within the last 2 years that I've really invested in my business, and it's really paid off. Like, I've just worked with people that knew how to do things differently. I worked with someone on the podcast, growing the podcast, and we've doubled the numbers. I'm working with him right now on changing the book. Quantum Speak is coming out in a whole new cover and name and energy. It's coming out in a whole new energy, and we're going to do some ads and things. And that's on the heels of on the energy of wake up and made money. We used to say wake up and make money. Okay, I love that saying, wake up and make money, right? Our new saying is wake up and made money. So yeah, that's where we're headed. Wake up and made money, making money in my sleep, because there is an easier way to do this. There absolutely is. Why wouldn't there be? We're seeing people all the time. We're seeing people that don't work hourly. We're seeing people that have way more money in this world than the value they're creating, or the energy, or the hours they're putting in. So it's not hours for dollars anymore. It's literally tuning into the abundance of who you truly are that creates your currency. So let's create currency. I was thinking the other day about currency and what currency is. If you think about currency and you think about it in a different way, it's like currency is joy, currency is love, currency, it's flow, right? So it doesn't just have to be money, but as you tune into a higher level of currency, money is there. That's where money lives. So it's just changing those old stories and habits. Okay, so those are all the ways that you may be holding yourself apart from it. All right, so here's the exercise that I do when I'm feeling anxious about anything, really. So what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes. I'm going to do this with you. If you're driving, please don't do this. Wait till you get home, because you really need to close your eyes. And the reason for closing our eyes is to let go of this world. That's what meditation is all about. It's to let go of the programmings, the illusions, and the physical world so you can go in and pay attention to the energetic. That is meditation in a nutshell. To quiet that mind enough so you turn off the noise of this world and you can tune into the inner frequencies of that higher consciousness, that stream of energy that you're connected to. So close your eyes so you can just let go of the physical world. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, where does the energy of money reside in my body? So you may feel some twinges in your tummy, your root, which is below your spine, your heart, your throat. If you're feeling any energy tightness or restriction, or interestingly, I'm feeling it in my heart and it feels like excitement, because I am very excited about money right now in my life. I feel a good flow. I feel a good connection to it, and I feel good about it. I feel good when it comes in. I feel great when it goes out. It feels, I have a lot of peace around it. And so it's an excitement in my heart. So see where it is in your body, and then ask yourself what the energy is and see what word pops up. Oh yeah, it's already moving. It's already moving. Even if you're not here with me now, it's already moving. All right. So then ask that energy to be released. So take a deep, deep breath. And whatever the word is, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to release all anxieties, all fears, all constriction around money, old beliefs around not having enough, not being enough, not being worth enough, releasing all energies of unworthiness, powerlessness, and the belief that money comes hard. And just breathe it all out. Yeah, you probably already feel lighter, releasing all anxieties, worry, fear energy, and any energy that has caused constrictions or low-level beliefs about money. Yeah, so clearing the field, clearing your neural pathways, dropping your shoulders. And then let's create some new energy. So I want you to imagine there's this beautiful golden light streaming through the top of your head, clearing all your neural pathways, bringing that energy down the back of your head, all the way down your throat and your heart. And we're just going to bring in the energy of abundance, light filled abundance, joy, currency, and always having enough, always being truly worthy of all you are looking to create, and allowing this activation of money and abundance in your field to be assured. So that is your connection to universal force, your divine connection, your universal support system, and all the energies around you to create more money flow. That's it. So simple. We don't have to complicate this. Now, if you want to do a little bit of journaling around that, that's great. It's definitely great to, write down what you're letting go. The reason why we want to write down what we're letting go is because it just gives us more awareness when those things pop up. So they're not these habitual loops and programming, so we can recognize them. So when we write them down, we're really clear about what they are and what needs to go. And then write down a list of interrupters. So these are things that you can use to interrupt those thoughts. If you've tuned into a frequency that feels like anxiety and fear, do that little exercise I gave you. You can move your body, go outside, go for a run, go for a walk, listen to something like this that helps you remember who you are. Take deep breaths, lighten up. Jesus, it's not so serious. We're taking this shit too seriously. Lighten up. The lighter your energy field is, the more likely you are to attract abundance. So lighten up. Stop thinking about it so much. You don't have to think about this shit 24/7. You don't. You're not going to figure it out that way, because if you're doing that, you're living in the problem and the solution can't come. That money that wants to come to you comes much more slowly when you're trying to figure it out, when you're desperately chasing it. It runs away from you. Trust me. I've done it. I've done it both ways. And honestly, I've lived without money and I've lived with money, and it's way more fun to live with money for absolutely sure. But it's not everything. I know that. I know that it's not everything. And I know, we've processed and worked through a lot to get to where we are, and we know who we are. And that's an important piece of this. So if you need to work on your worthiness piece, do some journaling around that, and who told you that you weren't worth it, and what do you need to clear? You can do the same exercise in your body with any kind of energy that you're experiencing. All right. So, how worthy you feel truly will help the money flow. Money can come from different places. So, don't constrict with your money, because it's easy to do that if you have a 9 to 5 job and you've only ever created money from your job. Free the field a little bit. Buy a lottery ticket. I don't care what you have to do. Just put in the energy of possibility in your life, so that there are other ways to think about this, to open your field. Like, when we were going through a lot of tough times, and bills were coming and there wasn't money to pay the bills, I would have to, a lot of times, just relax about it. Just relax about it. Ask myself what I can do. If there wasn't anything I could do in that moment, if there was a week or two before that thing was due, I would let go. I would practice letting go and trusting and having faith. It's going to work out for me. Things always work out for me. And they would. There would always be assistance there, or something would happen to come in to change our experience so that things worked out. So, we don't learn this stuff until we walk through it. So whatever you're walking through right now, know that it's part of that beautiful journey that you agreed to take to expand and grow. I mean, that's so cool. If you could think about money that way, oh, this is giving me an opportunity. This is giving me an opportunity to create stronger desire. This is giving me an opportunity to focus, to use my gifts and talents to activate more energy coming through me. One of the biggest, I think, disservices during COVID was, and I think it probably is taking a turn right now, because a lot of people were just getting money. So they didn't want to work, which meant they didn't go out, which meant they stayed home. And because there was no life force, there was no flow. I watched my child go through this. There was, it created a really hard time for people to create their own economies, especially because they didn't want to go back to what they were doing. It's almost like it kind of unveiled everything for people to go, oh my God, I've been working this life-sucking job and I actually hated it. And now that I don't have to do it anymore, I've got to find another way. So I think it's going to turn. I think it's actually going to create some good. I'm seeing it with my daughter. She figured out what she wants to do and she's feeling really passionate about it. That's the energy that creates. It's not working in that life-sucking job. So look at those as opportunities to fuel you towards something, not to take something away from you. So get in the game. Just get in the game, play the game, get in the game, activate energy, get out of your house, look for opportunities to connect with people. Get creative with money. That's really, really important. Get creative. Change your responses. So it wasn't until we started to change our response that money started to flow differently. And if I look at it now, it's like it's reflecting how I'm feeling, absolutely. And there's more to come. I know I have more work to do. I know there's more up leveling that's going to happen. And because of that, I look at it as the opportunity. So if you look at your bills, if you look at your bank account as an opportunity to focus, to promote your manifestation powers, to show yourself how worthy you are, all of these things are so good. They're so good for you. And I wouldn't know any of this if I didn't walk through it. I wouldn't know how it feels to not be able to fill up my gas tank. I wouldn't know. I'm still grateful for that today, especially right now. I fill it up every time. Doesn't matter how much it is, right? And I don't fret about it and I don't worry about it and I don't send it worry energy and restrictive energy because gas is more expensive. I don't do it. I live in California. Gas is bonkers. And I don't do it because what is the point? Why are we doing this to ourselves, right? Like, let's just be a little freer about it. This economy, the more expensive groceries, the more expensive gas, those things are giving us an opportunity to up level, to fuel our desire, to create more economy, to take our power back in a lot of ways. And once you step into that belief system and that knowing, you will create more. I promise. It works. It's worked for me so many times. I can't discount it. I absolutely can't. And that's the other piece of this. If you've been through this a few times and you're still having the same responses, you haven't quite expanded and grown from it yet. So you still need another opportunity to do it. So change your responses, change your life. Do I have to feel this way about money? Do I have to restrict and feel fearful right now? Can I be generous right now? I've got a lot going on, and recently, I've given money to someone a few times, and I'm not saying that to brag, good Lord, no. But, I've got things I need to pay for and I've got money coming in and I have things I have to pay for. And it just felt good. Like I just went intuitively in my heart and asked myself, because I don't usually do that sort of a thing, unless I feel called, of course. Because, there's plenty of people asking for money. I could be giving money all day long. But I only do it when I feel inspired to. So generosity is, it's not just like, flashing your money and acting like you're rich, it's not that. It's just being generous because that's karma. That's an energy that's going to come back to you, but don't do it to prove it. Just do it because it feels good. Do it because it feels intuitively inspired. If you feel inspired to buy something, if you feel inspired to spend money, feel good about it. Don't regret it. Don't fret about it. Because to me, that's like energy clearing. Just doing this new program that I decided to do for my book, it costs money and it's the biggest investment I've made in my business so far. And I had those feelings coming up. I had those energies coming up. So I have to trust. I have to have faith. I have to, I gotta live the life that I'm promoting here, right? So I'm working through it, and I processed through it with the gentleman today, and it felt really good to talk to him. It felt really good to say how I was really feeling and my process of working through it, acknowledging that I had a little bit of fear, acknowledging that I was like, oh, was I rash in that decision? No, I felt sure about it when I did it. And the mind will work to keep you safe and the same, and it'll try to talk you out of stuff that is actually going to create abundance for you. So you just have to work through it. It's an opportunity to release those things that no longer serve you and that you no longer have to live in that fear and constriction. There's always enough, you guys. There's always enough. And this life does not have to be so dense and so serious. We can let go of this 3D programming that we've been involved in for a long time, and we can reach for the more spiritual life. We can reach for the more faithful and trustful life by putting ourselves in quiet, by quieting the noise, by going within, by listening to our heart more, by shutting off the mind more, by shutting off the freaking news, by shutting off the freaking world. If it's saying something that promotes fear, shut it off. It does not serve you. You don't need to know that. You absolutely don't need to know that. And you definitely don't want to be tuning into that. And if there's a lot of conversations around you that are about the fear of money, that are about not having enough, it's because it's reflecting what you have going on within. So if you have a spouse or you have a partner that's got anxiety going on, you've got to be the leveler in this. My husband and I would do this for each other all the time. And if you can release yourself from it, if you can do that little exercise and breathe from it and fix it, like literally let it go, not fix it, but literally let it go, your partner will start reflecting something different because you're going to help them to tune into a higher frequency by your energy field, because this is your circus and these are your monkeys. So everything that's going on around you is that reflection of what you have going on within if you're feeling it. So if their anxiety isn't bothering you and you're cool with it, you're going to bring everybody else up. If their anxiety is causing you to be triggered, you've got something you need to work on. So journal it out, breathe it out, deal with it, and then heal from it. And that's how you end up changing your responses. And you don't allow the wounds and the old generational stuff to conduct in your experience anymore. You land, you stand in faith, you stand in trust, and you create abundance. And that is a beautiful thing. So it does not have to be so serious. It does not have to be so life-sucking. It can really and truly be a joyful ride, no matter what your income experience looks like right now, no matter what, your bank account looks like right now. You look at that bank account and you go, "Oh baby, you're up leveling." If it's really low, just look at it and go, "Oh man, you are not reflecting how I feel," and laugh, like get less serious about it, and it will stop being so dense and serious. Okay. All right. Let me know if you guys have questions. You can email me, livelifegolden@gmail. My website is livelifegolden.com. You can get all of my podcast episodes there. I did refer to 71. Episode 71 is great on the spiritual and scientific levels of manifesting. There's a different level when you believe in the spiritual. And it means that you're not so dense in this reality, like it has to be this way because of the science, because there's a soulful journey going on here. And when we connect with that and we connect with our universal co-creative orchestration, we become so much more powerful. So definitely listen to that episode. It is super valuable. There's tons of episodes. I have 72 of them now. So definitely connect on that. Quantum Speak is on Amazon. Quantum Speak for Parents is on Amazon as well. Both of those, well, Quantum Speak for Parents will stay the same for a bit, but the other one is going to be, I'm really excited to share it with you. And I'm going to have a free gift for you guys soon to help promote that, to get some reviews for that. And I would love your help if you could review that. That would be absolutely amazing. I also have my creative circle is still going on, and I can launch that for someone anytime. So there's a group on Facebook that you would be introduced to, and then we would walk through 2 months together of creating, beginning on August 16th. I'm going away and I'm taking a break from work for a little bit. So August 16th, we will launch a new creator circle. If you are interested in writing a book, painting a painting, creating a podcast, a YouTube channel, a business, whatever it is, I'm going to help to tune you into those vibrations and get you to create something. And it can be something that creates income or not, doesn't matter. Once we start juicing up the energy of passion, we don't know what's going to happen. And I love that. But I have all of the knowledge to be able to do this stuff. And I really want to share it with people. There are more things to come. I'm going to be doing a basics to the law of attraction. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I'm really excited about it. Got lots of ideas, and but I need a vacation first. Absolutely. No doubt about it. All right. I love you all. Peace.